What is church good for? Why are we gathered here? Why do we have our scriptures? What is overall religion about? What is it about? For me, it is about the deep, life-giving connection, the relationship. It's almost like the source of life, being connected to the river of life, connecting with the Spirit among us, in us, and to be restored and be renewed. For we all have the experience of having parched souls, of feeling like didn't turn out as I wish it would have, or just dreams going up in smokes, or life falling apart, our expectations just erased. So what do we do in those situations which Psalm 63 describes? My heart, my soul is longing for the living God. Or Psalm 43, like a deer who pants for living water, my soul is longing for the living God. It's about our souls, and we know that we live not by bread alone. We know that we may have everything we may dream of, yet just something is missing, some meaning, some purpose, something is missing. We may have everything we may dream of. Something is missing. So where is that? What sustains us? What feeds our souls? What nurtures us? What keeps us connected to the living God? And here comes the fig tree as a symbol, I think, for today's life. And I don't want to negate the reason and why there needs to be productivity, like we need to produce, it's the economy, stupid, and so on. We all, yes, you've heard it all. The industry, the busy bees, the birds, it's all in the works. We're part of that. But life, our value, who we are, is not dependent on that. We're deeper, we're grounded deeper. So you are not what you produce. Your value is so much greater. You are of eternal value. And sooner or later we all feel like, well, I don't have a lot to show for, especially when we start comparing ourselves with others. If you ever looked like that other person's life looks so much better than mine, just go on social media. It's depressing for me. So I stopped doing that because I feel like keeping up with the Joneses or trying to. Why? Because it's only the positive things that we usually post, isn't it? So what about when life isn't as positive? When we get the lemons, when we feel like, the fig tree that Jesus gives us as a parable is an encounter and a reminder that it's okay to be imperfect. Actually, Brené Brown wrote a whole book, The Gift of Imperfection, and she says it's about giving up what you hope or what you think, living up to the expectations that others have of you, and embracing the life you actually live, embracing who you are. So stop living up to the expectation. That's the carrot and the stick. I gotta please everyone and try to get everything done and so on. And we end up in a rat race and we realize, I can't do it. So the gift of imperfection means embracing yourself for who you are. Your love beyond measure, just for who you are. without having to show things, without having to produce, that's the ground of our being. That's the gift, I think, we're all invited into. Walter Brueggemann, a UCC theologian and Old Testament professor, said and has a book that's called Sabbath as Resistance. So in a society where we may feel like pushed, produce, Sabbath, taking a break, relaxing, breathing through, and just being in the presence of God is resistance. Sabbath is when Pharaoh just was a slave driver, having them produce more and more and more and more and more. Letting go and breathing through is good for our souls. It's important. It's who we are. We really need that. And just being in the presence of the living God without producing, it's who we are meant to be. You know, Psalm 46:10, it's almost like a motto for me. Be still and know that I'm God. Just in the stillness, where heart and soul connects with the living one, with the world soul, where we know we're cared for, embraced, and being held. Or when Jesus says, come to me, all ye who are weary and heavy laden. When you worry, when you dread, when you're worn out, when you're burned out, just come. There is peace, there is rest. Or when Jesus says, your peace I leave you, my peace I give you. I do not give you as the world gives. It is a deep divine peace that we can relax into and get refreshed and connected. Good for our souls. Martin Luther, that is the guy after whom Martin Luther King Jr. was named. So it's a few years earlier, in the 1500s. He was an exemplary monastic. In a monastery, as a monk, as a priest, he worked, he prayed, he wrestled, he worked, he prayed, he wrestled. He tried to find out, what do I have to do to be loved by God? He didn't feel that love. He didn't sense it. He felt like, I don't deserve it. I have to work harder. I have to be stronger. So he did this year in, year out, struggling, wrestling, just worked himself half to death in this kind of trying to earn God's love, trying to feel worthy, trying to be better, and got all exhausted and all worked himself out of all his strength and energy. Until when he felt almost like at the end of the rope. It was like a surrendering, an insight, a bulb went off, recognizing that God's love is primary. I do not have to earn it. I don't have to present something. I do not have to offer or deserve it. God's love is primary. God cares and makes it right with us through who God is and how God is. And we don't have to do it on our own. And that felt for him like a ton of bricks lifted from his shoulders. That felt like breaking out of prison, out of a cage, being unshackled and feeling like I can rest in the grace of God. God's love, God's blessings, the original blessing is always primary before the work and all that we can do and are invited to do. And baptism, whenever we baptize a child or an adult or a teenager here, is a reminder of that. God's love comes first. We are God's beloved. And nothing can take that away. Nothing. You don't have to work for it. You don't have anything that you have to show for it. Just you are worthy of love. God loves you just for who you are. Well, the wrestling and the struggle of Martin Luther didn't end. But whenever he was back in this cycle of not knowing and wrestling and frustrated and all the challenges he faced, he took chalk and wrote big on his desk, "I am baptized," meaning, just like at Jesus' baptism, hearing God's voice, "You are my beloved, you are the apple of my eye, I delight in you. You are worthy, you're loved, just for who you are. You are enough." So why do we do all this? Isn't it that we connect more deeply when we're thirsty, when we're longing, when we're yearning to be renewed, refreshed, that our souls connect with the living God? What feeds your soul? What makes you come alive? Are you longing to connect with the water of life, the river of life? What sustains you?